Hey y'all, it's your friend D, and in today's video, we're going to continue working on the motel, and I have a little challenge for myself. I'm going to try to complete everything for the motel today in 2 hours. This week has been crazy, and I just haven't had a lot of time to work on projects. So I'm going to see if I can use this 2 hours wisely. I might be able to stretch it to three, but I'm going to shoot for two. Get it done and get it edited so I can move on to finishing the bank. So let's see what I can get done in 2 hours, guys. The first thing I want to do is finish putting the doors in place. This is the door for the inside of the office, and I shared that doorknob with you. So I'm going to glue that one in place and then glue the door on the inside of the office. And these other two doors, I made the same way as the previous ones. These are going to be the doors to the guest rooms, and I have guest room 1 and 2. The name plates, I just made those from leftover scraps from the decoration that I had on the main door. I'll put a picture of it, and I had to clip off the ends of those, so I kept those little scraps. For the guest doors, I wanted the doorknobs to look a little bit different, so I went with more of a handle. And this is still made out of paperboard. It's two pieces glued together, and the handle is also paperboard. And underneath the handle, just to raise it up a little bit, is just some foam board. This little dot here is just paper that I punched out and painted black. And then I painted a green dot and a red dot. And I wanted this to resemble one of those card readers when you're at hotels. I have my doors in place, and I set those aside so the glue can dry. And I'm going to start working on a table that's going to be in the waiting area of the office. My main piece for the table is just paperboard. It's 4 pieces that I glued together with Mod Podge, and I cut it into a rectangle that was 5 by 2.5 inches, and I just rounded the corners. I'm also using paperboard for my legs. This is also 4 pieces glued together. And to get the pieces for my legs, I actually cut a rectangle that was 2 inches by 1 1/4 inch. And then on my shorter sides, I came over 3/4 at the bottom and I marked it. And then at the top, I came over 1/2 inch. And then I connected those, and that gave me the shape that I wanted for my legs. And I just had to cut those out and glue 4 of them together for each leg. I also have some extra pieces of paperboard that are cut to 1/4 inch wide, and I don't know if I'll use these or not. I'm going to start gluing my legs on, and I want the straight edge of my leg to be on the outside. So I will glue them in the corners like this. I have my legs glued into place, and I'm debating if I want to put the strips on. They would sit here, just underneath the tabletop. So I did decide to put those strips on. That's what it looks like. So now I'm going to cover this in gesso, let that dry, and once it's dry, I can paint my table. Now I'm going to move on to making the sofa for the sitting area, and I was inspired by this sofa. It is a mid-century modern sofa, so I'm going to see if I can make a version of that. The majority of the sofa will be made out of foam board, but I did make some extra legs out of paperboard. They're the same as for the table. I have 3 pieces of foam board that are cut to 7 by 3.5 inches. 1 piece cut to 7 by 1 1/4 inches. 2 pieces that are cut to 7 by 1 inch. 1 piece that is cut to 7 inches by 1/2. 3 pieces that are cut to 1 inch by 1 inch. I'm going to start by gluing the 2 pieces that are 7 inches by 1 inch together. So one is going to sit on the edge of the other one like this. So I have those pieces glued together. Now I'm going to glue on the piece that is 7 inches by 1/2. And I'm going to sit it on top like this. So this is what it looks like so far. Now I'm going to take the 1 inch by 1 inch squares, and I'm going to fit them in here. I'm going to put one at the end here, and I'm going to mark where I want this. I'm going to make a cut. I'm going to draw here. And I'm going to cut on that diagonal. I have those pieces in place, and I didn't need all 3 squares that I cut. I only needed 2 of them. You can see I cut them in half into triangles, and I think that's going to be enough. Now I'm going to take the piece that is 7 inches by 1 1/4 inch, and it's going to sit like this. And I shouldn't have to trim it any. So I'm going to glue this in place. So these are all the pieces of foam for the backrest put together. I'm going to take 2 of the pieces that are 7 inches by 3 1/2, and I'm just going to glue those together. I'm going to take these 2 pieces, the backrest and those 2 rectangles that we glued together, and I'm going to cover them with some felt. I have this green one from, I think this is from Walmart, and I don't want this to be very thick, so I might only cover it in 2 layers because this is a pretty thin felt. These 2 pieces have been covered in a felt, and these are the cushions for the sofa. So it looked like that, and here it is from the side. And I'm going to cover mine with this pink fabric I got at Walmart. I can't remember how much these are. I think they used to be 97 cents, but now they're $1.30, $1.35, somewhere in that range. But I'm going to cover my cushions with this, and you will see this later. Now I can take my last board and glue the feet onto it, and I'm going to do it the same way as I did on the table. Here's the base of the sofa, and I did decide to add some extra paperboard like I did on the table. So I have some 1/4 inch strips going around the sides there. And those other 2 pieces will sit on top of the base like this. These pieces are dry, and so this is the base of the sofa. I do need to do some touch-ups, but I'll wait and do that later. And these 2 pieces will just sit on top like this. And that will be our couch. And this will be against the wall, so I'm not worried about this falling off. You can glue this on if you want to, but I'm going to leave mine separate. That way, if I just want a bench like that, I can have it. Also, if I want to use the base just as a longer table, I can. Here's the coffee table, and it came out really good. And I have to touch up a couple of places on this. And I went pretty light on my second coat so I could get kind of a faux wood grain. I wanted to try the technique that I did on the teller booth with the different color paints, but I don't have time to mix some more paint, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave it as is. Now I'm going to start on the front desk of the motel, and I've had to change my design at the last minute on this piece, because I've decided that one of the owners of the motel is in a wheelchair, and I have to make this area accessible for that doll, and I'll probably have to leave out some of the other pieces I wanted to put in the motel lobby. The front desk will be in an L shape, and this portion will be underneath the windows. So I'm going to start with a piece that is 6 inches by 5 3/4 inches. This is going to be the back. I have 2 pieces that are 5 3/4 by 1 1/2 inch. And those are going to be the sides. And the countertop is going to be a piece that is 6 inches by 1 1/2 inch. And then I'll have some more pieces that I'm going to fit inside, but I want to get all of these 4 glued together first. Now I'm going to take some more foam board that I cut to 1 1/2 inch wide and fit it in. Like I said, I changed this design at the last minute, so I don't have all of my pieces cut out. So I'm going to measure this and see how long my shelves need to be. I have the first shelf glued in. On my second one, I'm thinking I want a couple of cubby holes. So I cut some 1 1/2 inch by 1 1/2 inch squares, and I'm going to stick those in between these 2. I have all of the shelves in, and I have 2 more pieces to add to this side. And one piece is 4.5 inches by 1 1/4 inch. And the other one is 4.5 inches by 1 inch. And these are going to go on the top. This one, the bigger one, is going to go on the side. And then we'll have the smaller one like that. So it's just going to be a little corner piece. I have this section on, and that's all I'm going to do for this side right now. The next part of the desk will have a folding top, and I'm trying to figure this out, but I do have some hinges here. And if you don't have hinges like this, don't worry about it. There are plenty of YouTube videos that show you how to make hinges out of paper. And I've done that before and it works really well. But I do have these little hinges and I'm going to use these today. And I'm just going to glue them in place with some, probably going to use a little bit of hot glue and some tacky glue. For the top of the desk area, I have a piece of foam board that is 5.5 inches by 2.5 inches. For the side of the desk, I cut my piece to 5 3/4 by 2.5. And I have this little piece that is cut to 2.5 by 1 inch. And this is just going to be an extra piece at the bottom of my side panel. So I think I got it figured out, and my hinges are on the inside. And I left a little bit of an overhang, so when the desktop is open, the foam board still sits on this foam board. I think that's going to work. And I used hot glue and some of this tacky glue. This will just give those hinges a stronger bond over time. So now I have to attach this part to this part of the desk. And I want to have hinges over here also. And the desk will fold up like this. I'm not sure exactly how to make that work. If the hinges have to go on top, I don't want them to be seen, but I have to figure out how to attach them onto the bottom. So I'll be back. I just ended up putting these hinges on top. It was just easier, and I'm sure if I had a little more time, I would be able to figure out how to make them work underneath. But I'm pressed for time right now, so this was the easiest thing to do. And so that side does now fold up, and it can fold back down to a desk. So I'm going to get this covered with my gesso and then paint it. So my friends, my 2 hours has expired and I did not complete this challenge. I did not take into consideration the drying time for the gesso and for the paint. And I did have to get my hair dryer out and speed the process up a little bit. But there were several extra pieces that I did not get to make in this video. But let's go over what I did get done. I did get the doors attached to the back wall, and these are a little shorter because of the space that I have for this building. I had to lower my roof line. So that's why the doors are a little bit taller than the door frame. And I still have to put trim above the doors also. So that is just the way I had to do mine, but you can definitely make your doors taller. I also figured out how I wanted to attach the back wall to the rest of the building. This is just for storage purposes, and I didn't want this back wall permanently attached. So I have a piece of foam board on this side, and on the other side it's similar to how I did the roof in the front, but I have these hanging over into the office. And these pieces will essentially allow this back wall to just hang onto the building. I still have to put trim around the top, and that'll help with that. That way I can store this building in the space I have, and I'm not adding any bulk to the size of the building. And I can just lift this up and film the guest room separately if I don't want to pull out the entire building. Here's the sitting area in the office, and I do like the size of the furniture. Because this section was so small, I had to make sure the furniture did not completely overpower this space. I like that the couch has the lower back and it doesn't block the window, and I can take that back cushion off if I want to. I can also have the furniture this way. There is enough room, so there's a walkway here, but because one of my characters is in a wheelchair, I'm wanting that to be a little bit more open, so I'll have room for his wheelchair in this area. Here's the office area, and I do like the desk. I just wish I had more time to really figure it out. I do intend to use this doll in some stop motion, so I am happy that I'll be able to move this out of the way and we can watch him go back and forth behind the desk. So that's going to be really cool to do. And you can see back here, I did add some little dowel rods, and these are our little room keys. The room keys are just made out of pink paper and black foam board on the back and a little jump ring. And I wanted these to mimic those old school motel keys, but they're going to act as our key card for our rooms. And I'm also happy I decided to put some shelves here so we can see a little bit of the clutter in the office. I think that really helps sell this area. So, my friends, I am a little sad that I did not complete the challenge I set for myself, but I still had fun with this. And I want to thank everyone who suggested I make this after I made the tiki bar. It was a really fun side project, and I will add extra pieces to this, but I probably won't do a video on that. I need to get back to working on the bank. So my friends, that's going to be all for this video. I need to get to editing. And as always, if you have any questions about anything in this video, please leave it in the comments below. I will try my best to answer your questions. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. I'll see you next time, my friends. Bye-bye.